Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a marketing partner webinar with Travefy. Get to know Travefy and explore how to create seamless cruise workflow with Travefy's powerful tools. My name is Johanna de Guzman. I am the Manager of Industry Relations for North American Travel Trade Membership here at CLIA, and I'm quickly going to go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. The webinar will run for about 45 to 50 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we will get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Bonnie McLeod. Bonnie serves as the Education and Engagement Coordinator at Travefy, where she assists in orchestrating webinars and educational sessions aimed at advancing the education of travel professionals. And with that, take it away, Bonnie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Johanna. And thank you everyone for joining me today, whether it's over your lunch break or, it's the afternoon, morning still for you guys. We always appreciate you taking your own time to join us, but super excited about today and all of the sessions coming up that we'll be able to come onto CLIA's platform with, but got a lot in store. So we're gonna try and get through as much as possible. So everyone buckle on up. But if this is your first time hearing about Travefy, we are an all-in-one system platform made for travel professionals. Our goal has always been to save you time, but also make sure that you have a really easy time impressing your clients. So let's go ahead. We'll jump right on into things today. The topic of today, as you might have seen when you registered, is that we are building a cruise workflow with Travefy's tools. I was talking to some advisors earlier on this month, and it's crazy how soon wave season is going to be upon us. It just gets earlier and earlier. So we might as well start talking about cruises. But just as Joanna said, my name is Bonnie. If we have not met, hello, nice to meet everyone. I always love doing these webinars, getting to talk to you guys as face-to-face as we can in this day and age. But I am super excited to introduce you and give you a really, overview of Travefy. And so again, as I mentioned, Travefy is an all-in-one workflow toolbox that is meant to help you try and really run your business as successfully as you can, but also really make it as easy as possible. And so this slide here below, if you're a current Travefy user, have been on some of our webinars, probably the most familiar slide you've ever seen. But this is a really good way of seeing all of the different tools Travefy has built into the system to really make sure that you are successful. One is our marketing tools, which are our websites and landing pages. Now, again, going back to some conversations I've had with a lot of advisors, I got into travel because I enjoy taking travel and I enjoy really sharing my experiences with others. But sometimes that might not include the marketing aspect of when you think of being a travel advisor. You guys have to do so many different jobs. So we made tools that are going to be aimed at making sure marketing is an easy process for you. And again, we'll get into a lot of these topics today, but for our future sessions, we'll actually dive right on into some of the marketing tools and some of the trip building process. But how marketing leads into our next one, lead generation. We have this beautiful marketing page or maybe this website we've created that talks about our company, talks about our business, some upcoming promotions. How do we qualify our leads? And that's where our forms, along with our PCI compliant credit card authorization form, comes in really handy. We have a lot of different templates that are available to you to customize with your own questions, your own terms and conditions. If you need electronic signatures down, we've got that. But this is a nice way to make sure, one, the people who are coming to your website who are interested in travel are going to be good customers for you and that they're going to be a good fit for you. But what's also lovely about all of that lead generation is it all gets funneled automatically into your CRM in Travefy. So this means that all of the contacts who fill out your forms, fill out credit card authorizations, maybe they're warm leads, maybe they're repeat customers of yours, all get funneled into your CRM in Travefy. It updates information upon responses from the clients. You can also organize your contacts how you would like, along with automations, task reminders to help you stay on top of things. But not only that, we also have invoicing for those of you who do charge planning or professional fees. So a lot of great stuff built in there, and it's connected to so many of the other features of Travefy. But last but not least, and I'm going to go ahead and show both of these two at the end, this is where Travefy really got started. If we have any people who are on right now who have been with us for a few years, you probably know all about this fun tool. But proposals and itineraries is really where our bread and butter is, if you don't mind me saying that. But proposals are a really great way to show different options to make it interactive for your clientele with all the things that you're trying to get them to go with, but it converts automatically into an itinerary, which allows them to view it in the app, view it as a PDF, view it online. So a lot of different options to help you stand out as an advisor. But a couple of things that really set us apart, if you already thought that this was a lot, I'm going to just continue adding more. But some of the things that advisors love to tell us that really makes the biggest difference is one, all of our supplier integrations. We pride ourselves in having your suppliers in our system. So if you've ever talked to me before at a conference or anything like that, I always say, you know what? Send us your top 3, top 5 suppliers that you use, and we're happy to see if they're in our system. And if not, we will reach out to them to see about a partnership or integration. We love our suppliers. The other thing to mention is we have destination content. So you'll hear us talk about city guides. And these are guides that are created about the city on destinations maybe you aren't the expert in and can't spend a lot of time researching. These city guides are created by tourism experts and local tourism boards. The other thing to mention are live flight alerts. I'm not sure if anyone has, that horror story of, airline canceling all flights, but live flight alerts are really great for both you and your client. This allows you to get notifications about any changes, and it also updates automatically in your trips. Next thing to talk about, photo and video imports. It's really important to make sure your itineraries and your proposals look polished and professional. There's so many of us in this industry, which is an amazing thing that shows a really healthy industry. But at the same time, how can you have a unique looking proposal that's going to be remembered by your clients? So we'll talk a bit about that today. Also, as well as hotel and select content, because we're hooked up to a few different hotel databases to make sure that you don't have to spend nearly as much time in the trip building process, and you can focus on other areas of your sales workflow that maybe just need a bit more of your attention. But we also have first-class customer support. I always have to shout out the customer support team. I was on this team for a long time, but we really are here to help you. We are not the type of service to just take your money and leave you hanging. We want to make sure you're continuing your education and getting value out of Travefy. So we have live chat, we have email support. We love our free one-on-one Zoom trainings we do with you guys. Webinars just like these, and then of course on-demand tutorials to, again, just make sure you know how to use the system and you're getting value out of it. Now, we're going to move on to some new enhancements. This is a big one that was launched, I want to say about a month and a half ago, and that is called Marketplace. Marketplace is a content database that is exclusive to Travefy users, and this has been a game changer. So on this slide, you can see here a little bit of what that looks like, and I'll show you guys here soon. But this is a place where you can search for itineraries, templates, form templates, workflows, you name it. And this is a nice way if you're just getting started or you just want to see what some other professionals are doing. You can take a look and you can save all of this to your own account to use for your clients. All of their information will be wiped away, and then your name will be out there. All of the content in here is also created by other Travefy users, so additional advisors. We also have suppliers, tour operators who are pushing out a lot of great content. And by all means, if you have something you really want to showcase, share with others, that's how the industry does well. You can also share whatever you would like into Marketplace. But really quick, I'll show you the whole list of things that are in Marketplace currently, more to come. But anything that you can really create in Travefy, you can find in Marketplace. So definitely take a look if you're thinking, you know what, I've got to prepare for that cruise season. I need to find some different cabins, or maybe I need just to see what other people are saying that are good cruise tips. Take a look. But here's the slide that tells me we are going to jump on into Travefy. We made it through our slides, and I gotta say it again, hold on tight because we are going through just about everything we can within our time slot today. So first things first, if you remember from one of my first slides, we were talking about marketing, which is where we talk about websites and landing pages. So if you go with me, up at pages at the top left, I'm going to click into there really quick. And for you, if you've never been here before, it's going to ask you to choose from a theme, which is pretty much, select colors, select fonts. Go ahead, you can choose whatever you want for right now, but I want to give you kind of, again, a high-level overview of how this tool can be useful to you. One, you can build a website for yourself. If you've never created a website for yourself, or you're just a newer advisor who is getting into the industry, maybe this is your first year, a website is so important to have, but there are so many different website routes you can really take. What we love to say, this is something that's already included in your membership. So take a look. If you need something for a website, take a look into your Pages tool, because you can build something like this where you can say, here is what I offer as an agent or an agency. Here are some of the trips that I am promoting currently. Here's my calendar if you want to get on my schedule for a consultation call, contact information, forms, you name it. You can put it all into your website. You can also do what we call domain masking, and this goes for those of you who have a Travefy account currently. Domain masking is such a great step to take, especially if you want to get your brand name out there, recognized, as long as you own what we call a domain name. So usually you would go search it online like GoDaddy, Google Domains, Squarespace, you name it. As long as you own your company domain, I'm going to click Edit Page here really quick and zoom in. Anywhere that Travefy shows in a link, if you domain mask your account, which is free to do in Travefy, your company name shows up instead. So that way you have full control of your branding, and Travefy really takes the back seat and lets your company shine. But the other thing, for those of you who have a website already and are like, what's the use of this tool for someone like me? I would say look at doing a travel landing page. So here's a good example of one. This is for a trip that we're actually about to make together in this session, but this is a Vancouver cruise. And, let's say I have a couple of different cabins booked on this that I really need to sell. This is a really great use of the market landing pages. You can say what your trip is about. You can give a little about you section, of course, or if you want to create a whole page just about your company, what you do, what your services are, you can. But you can also include great media such as YouTube video walkthroughs. I keep pulling up cruises just because that is the season we're about to go right into. But for those of you who do all-inclusives and you want to find a YouTube video of an all-inclusive property walkthrough, pulling in videos is a really great way to immerse your clients or potential clients into where they might want to go and stay. But now I'm going to show you just a few things. One, here's a little section of where I'm just offering a couple of different cabin types. You can, of course, say, how many spots are left, but you can also put pricing down. I do want to show you how you can pull in an itinerary. And again, this goes for a website and a landing page. We try and make this as easy as possible where you don't need any coding knowledge beforehand. Thank goodness, am I right? So what we're going to do is we're going to pull in an itinerary, maybe for this cruise, so people can actually see it and they can get a good idea of what type of itinerary that they would be sent if they go with my services. So if you will go with me, I'm going to click on here. Everything is clickable in here. If you are curious about the website builder, just know if you click on something, the menu to edit will appear on the right-hand side. And for today, I'm going to select just add card. And now I can add some information right on into here. So for me, maybe this is my Vancouver trip. So I'm just going to call it trip example. Really, really creative, I know. Badge wise, this is where you can put in the price or maybe deadline, date, whatever you would like. But description, pretty self-explanatory. Was this trip about, image, etc. But if you see down here, and hopefully you can see this okay, I have a little import from Travefy option. This is an option where you can pull in stuff from your library onto a page like this, or even a trip that you've created in Travefy previously. So if we select trip, we're going to see all of my trips that are currently active. So for those of you, maybe this is a slower season. It's August, people are going back to school, families are busy, but this is a great time where you need to focus on your marketing. You're busy all of the rest of the year. Now in the slower season, we got to build our trips, get them ready, and get that marketing going. So for us, we're going to grab this Let's Cruise trip. I'm going to click the plus button. And what happens is actually that title changes. It's going to put in the price that I had on that trip previously, as well as that cover photo. And right now, I'm just going to click Save. Usually I would say, make the description something other than, this is a wide card supporting text. But just for the sake of time, we'll pull that in. The other thing to mention is forms. Forms are really easy to pull in as well. So before we preview how this all works, I'm going to go down here. And again, with the website builder, with the landing page builder, if you see something you want to edit, you just click on it. And a lot of times just work your way from top to bottom. So let's add in let's just click this pencil icon right here. Little fun tip, pencil icons in Travefy just means you can edit it further. So we'll click that. And again, working your way from top to bottom is usually the way to go when you're working in Travefy. We'll start with the button type. What would we want this button to do? Do we want it to go to my email? Do we want this to go to a form? Do we have maybe an affiliate link that we want to put in here? Really, again, it's the best to just kind of click into things. Don't be afraid to click into anything in Travefy and just kind of go from there. So we want to maybe connect one of our intake forms. We kind of talked about forms a little bit and we'll dive into it here soon. But we want to have an intake form on here. This is how I qualify my leads, and this is also how I get information to make sure I'm a good fit for them. So we'll select form. Next, we'll leave that book today option, but you can title this button as whatever you want. Some people will say book here, contact me today, get as salesy as you want. But then we're going to select, again, that import from Travefy option. And let's go ahead. Let's just grab, oh man, I have so many forms as you can see. Let's just grab a new one. We'll just create one from a template, and I'll show you this again here soon, but we'll do the new trip inquiry. A lot of our templates are just going to have pre-loaded questions that you can, of course, customize. You can remove some of these questions, but really the point of this is to show you how quick and easy this can be. So I'm going to click Save here. Save, save, save. And if I click preview, we can actually see what this is going to look like on a desktop, as well as what it looks like on mobile. We make sure that these pages you create are going to be accessible on as many devices as possible, which just helps with the SEO, if you've heard that term, which is pretty much making sure your website or your landing page can actually be seen. But if we scroll down, we can always test these buttons out before we put it out on the internet. So if I scroll here to our little trip we put in, click View Trip, it's going to take them to the itinerary. And again, this is a really great way for someone who might be curious about using a travel advisor, maybe for the first time, to see what type of experience they're ready to get into. They can take a look, they can say, oh, this is way better than, and sorry if anyone does this, maybe that old PDF brochure that maybe looks pretty dated at this point. Compared to something like this, they're like, oh my gosh, it's interactive. I can look at all of the different links. I can, I can actually interact with the media. So really, again, this gives them a little bit of a taste. And if they're interested, they can contact you, or of course, they can fill out one of those intake forms that you've included all in one place. Really easy too. If you're just, networking and someone says, oh, I want to go on a cruise. Here's my one link that I'll send to you, or maybe I put it into a QR code that you can scan and you can take with you versus, having to email me back and forth, all in one place. I'm not sure if any of you can relate to being also tech support for potential clients, but this can hopefully help down significantly with the questions that people might ask you. Just all in this one link, here you go. But that is all marketing. Again, we have a whole session that's going to be dedicated to talk all about this. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, wait, I don't even know how to put something like this together, stay tuned. But we're going to go back because we want to try and include as much of those tools that we showed beforehand in this session. So we just talked about marketing. We talked a little bit about forms, but now let's dive into it. We're going to go right to our library, which is up in our navigation bar. Here's what it looks like. And really, if you are not familiar with the term library, Library in Travefy pretty much means it's your own custom database that you can create as much as you want here. You can save things from Marketplace or some of your previous trips. You can save content here to use for your future trips, future clients. And so let's start off with a form. I'm going to select that new library item option at the top left. And you're going to see a drop-down list of all the different categories of content that you can build directly into your library. This is also a place that I tell new users or people who are just trying the system out for the first time to go to. Start adding in some of the different places that you like to sell pretty frequently. That way you can use them really easily for when you create your first couple of trips. So let's start with form, which is at the very top. And from here, you can see it's pretty blank. We can put in the title, label, which is the way we organize in Travefy, or we can just actually create directly from a template. And you kind of saw this when I was starting with those marketing pages, but let's click into it again. We have 4 different templates available in here. Now, each one's going to have some preloaded questions, of course, that you can customize further, but we also have so many more templates for forms, especially in Marketplace. But for today, let's do that credit card authorization. Now, as I mentioned, this is a PCI compliant form. We have to do an annual audit to make sure we're up to standard. So we do all the really fun work for you so you don't have to do that. Just know that all of the information is collected securely. It helps protect you against chargebacks, that much more. And really, if you do have any questions or if your client has any questions and wants to see how we stay PCI compliant and keep that information securely, we're happy to share with you the documents that we have to go through. But enough chitter chatter about that. Let's actually show you what that question means. Here at the very bottom, we have, please enter your payment information. I'm going to click that pencil icon right here. And just to explain kind of the layout of forms, this little section right here is where we would type in the question. To the right is going to be the answer field that we're looking for. What's the type of answer that we need from that client? So because we're asking for payment information, we want to keep it as card authorization. But you can see down below, we can require it or not, and we can choose to collect the CVV code or not. We'll select yes for right now, and I'm going to go ahead and click that check mark. If we want to add in some questions, we would just click add new, and you have 3 different options right here. 1, you can add another question, of course. You can add a text and image only, which is exactly how that sounds like. You can add just an image or some text. Most people will add in their logo with this one, put it at the top of their form, or you can embed your calendar. So we have a Calendly integration where you can put your Calendly link into both those page tools that we talked about with marketing, or you can embed your calendar directly into your form. If this is something like a booking form and you need them to set up a consultation call with you after they fill this out, you can put your calendar link in here so it's easy and again, all in one place where, again, we're focusing on making sure your client has a really good experience and it doesn't feel like work for them. So with that being said, let's add in just one more question and let's ask for a passport. So we'll say, please upload your passport. And to the right is going to be the type of answer field or response that we're looking for. So we'll click into here and you'll see a lot of different ones. But for today, we're going to focus on that contact document upload. We want them to upload a document. So we'll select it and we can require it or not. But what's nice about this is when the client gets to it, maybe they're filling it out on their phone, they'll have 2 options of uploading this document. 1, if they already have a photo of their passport on their phone, they can just go to their library and select which photo it is. Or they have the option to just take a photo right from their device. So we, again, try and make this as easy and as painless as possible. So no more having to scan documents, no more having to fax things. It's all really easy. But let's click that check mark. And just to explain just a few things below before we move on, we can require the electronic signature. This is an option that has to be turned on when we ask for something like credit card information, but you have full control over the terms and conditions. If you have your own written up, which probably most of you do, you can copy and paste them right into this box. But now, let's say, I'm ready to send this out, but I just want to make sure it looks okay. What does it look like for the client? We'll have that preview option up at the top right. We can see what this looks like on mobile. They fill it out, hit continue, fill it out, hit continue. We can also see what it looks like on desktop. It's going to just have this one page, have all of the questions. They would have where they can add their payment method. And you can see where it's saying, put the billing address in, put your name on the card, CVV code, etc. They can upload their passport like so if they're doing it from their desktop. And once they hit continue, this will be the same for if they're on mobile. They'll see a summary of all of their responses, any that they didn't fill out, and then electronic signature is required at the bottom. So they'll just type it on in, hit submit. What happens is you get a notification that so-and-so submitted a response. You can go back, see the responses. It's going to be on their contact. And the client, they'll get a PDF version. So we'll take care of making sure everyone gets the paperwork that they need. But let's exit that preview really quick. Let's actually do send this off since we're doing okay on time. I'm going to click that share button. You have two ways of sharing this via either a link or you can email this to your client. I do usually recommend doing it via email if you have a certain client in mind, mainly because with how our CRM works, we can actually track the status of it. So if they viewed it, if they haven't viewed it, if they have opened it, you name it. It just gives us a little better insight, and of course that gives you a little bit more insight as well. But I'm going to type in the name of a contact, Jane Doe here. You can send this to multiple people at once. You can include a custom message. You can also create saved messages in your library. Authorization description though, just really, really quick. If you are interested in creating your card authorization, you're going to get to this screen. Authorization description is what are you using their card for? Do you want to have the client specify the amount, or do you have a specific amount in mind? Authorization amount, that's going to be the total of everything in here. So if you can see from this example, it's like $800 for a flight, $1,000 for the hotel. This would then be $1,800 total. And then you'll have a deadline. How long can you view their card information? So by default, for PCI compliance reasons, if you collect that little code on the back of their card, we can only hold their information for up to 30 days. So usually 30 days is that standard for even if you don't collect the CVV. But if you do have any questions on that, just let us know. But I'm going to fill this out quick. We'll have the client specify the amount. I'm going to put in 30. And let's see here. Authorization description, example. We'll send that form on off. Once you receive a response, your responses are going to be in here. But again, you get that email notification once you do have the response available. Now, just to talk about CRM really quickly, like I said, we're going to try and jam as much into this session as possible. But once you actually do send that out to a client, you can find their contact in here. You can actually see the forms that you've sent them in the past, as well as any trips. Notes are really great if you like to call them and have call notes down. Documents is where that passport would go. This is an encrypted area, so their data is secure if you upload anything into this spot. But once they fill it out, all of their information updates automatically onto their contact, and that's really the biggest game changer. You don't have to have their responses pulled up on one window. You don't have to have their contact pulled up on another and try and go back and forth to make sure the information matches. It'll do all of that for you. So as long as they fill it out, that's really all we can ask for. But very last part is really focusing on the trips portion. So this is really, again, where Travefy got started and where we like to spend a lot of time showing off some of those great supplier integrations and tools. So to get familiar, this is your home page. This is our trips page. And if we click new trip, you have two options up at the top left. You have a proposal option as well as an itinerary. The difference is really what buttons your clients see when you send it to them. A proposal will have an approved proposal button, whereas itinerary, they're going to have the app and PDF option. Some people have asked us, why is there a difference? Why can't my client see it on the app if it's a proposal? And what we always tell them, because unfortunately this is just a trend that we've seen after COVID, is we want to try and minimize the different places your client can save a quote when it's in that quote stage process. If you've ever had a client ghost you, this would be the reason why. We don't want them to be able to save your work, ghost you, book things themselves, or by any means, have someone else book it for them. That's your hard work. So we try and protect that as much as possible. Once that is an itinerary, they put their electronic signature down, they're ready to book things. That's when we just give them a few more of those different options to view it. But let's go ahead. Let's start with the proposal. They're built out the exact same way, and I'll make sure to highlight those differences again once we get to the end here. But let's go ahead. This is what we call our trip builder. This is what you're going to see as an advisor. We're focused on building in the content. And what I tell most people to do is start off in your settings. Let's start with the trip name. Let's go with Let's Cruise CLIA. And for our start date, if this is a proposal, of course, and you don't know quite the dates yet, you can always leave this blank. For us, we're gonna go along with that cruise theme that we're doing. So I'm gonna find October 11th of this year. Price-wise, this is an optional item. Some people will put a price in, some people won't. Maybe you prefer to talk to your client face-to-face about price. Otherwise, we can always just say, starting at maybe $5,000 per person. And for description, I always say put something in here, even if it's a sentence or two, because this appears at the top of the trip. A lot of times advisors will put in directions on how to read through the quote, or here's a highlight of, what I've included in your proposal, something like that. So for me, I'm going to copy and paste some text in here. And you can, of course, at the top format it how you would like, but we'll go ahead, save our changes. The next thing to talk about is, I don't know what photo we just got randomly generated here, but if I preview it, it looks like it's a photo of a lake with some great blue neon looking stuff going on. But let's change that cover photo really quick. We kind of talked about this in one of our slides at the beginning. We are huge on photo video import. So if we click change cover photo, we're going to give you a lot of different options. With this one, we have the database option, which bring in royalty-free images. You have your upload option. If you yourself are really great at taking photos, you can upload your own photos. Website method is great if there's a website page out there that you want photos from. A lot of times the supplier's website might have some photos you want to use. You copy their URL, paste it in here, and we'll see if we can get any photos from them. Or the good old standard copy and paste method. For right now, let's use that database. I'm going to type in ocean. We'll hit enter. You can see all of these photos that come on over. You can have some fun choosing which ones you want. For me, let's go ahead and choose this guy right here. And I'm going to click the edit option. With a lot of these photos, you're going to have the option to choose, what part do I want to have included? This gives a little bit of the sunset, so we'll save the edits and save our changes. And now if we preview it, this is what our clients would see. And they see a little bit of that image right there. Whereas for us, since we're more so focused on building the content, it's not going to look as pretty or polished for us because, again, we're focused on making sure we can put this together quickly. So speaking of putting it together quickly, let's just keep rolling along. Next thing we'll talk about is, how do I bring in a hotel? It's October 11th, which is a Friday. We're going to click that new event button. And you have a whole drop-down list of different categories of events that we can build into here. So let's start off with lodging. We'll select lodging. And with any event, we're going to prompt you for information to try and make your life as easy as possible. So it's going to say, enter your property name. Let's type in Rosewood Hotel, Georgia. And I'm going to zoom in so you guys can hopefully see this. But at the top, we have some different filters selected. We have Travefy selected, the library option, and the web option. I usually tell people to try and go with the Travefy option if you want to have, description of the hotel come over, photos, location information. If you've saved a property or created a property in your library, this will show you your own custom results. But the web option is really great for maybe those really tiny hotels or tiny properties, or maybe if you do an Airbnb, it'll pull in just Google search results. But let's go ahead, we'll stick with the Travefy option. I'm going to zoom out. If we wanted to put a check-in, check-out time, we could. Otherwise, I'm adding this directly into the itinerary right now. And as you can see, we have some location information, facility information, 5 photos, and a place attachment is this little guy down here that a client can interact with and see that location information, as well as a map they can interact with, and more information, as you can see, that is listed. What's nice about place attachments is that it actually won't make your trip super lengthy, but as you can see, it still creates a lot of great information and resource for your clients. But we added in the hotel, let's add in now a whole cruise. And this is the stuff that takes the least amount of time. So we'll click new event. We're on October 12th, as you can see, and we're gonna select that cruise event option. And again, we're gonna prompt you for the information that we need. We're gonna say, okay, what cruise line are you looking for? I'll scroll through just a little bit, but you can see we have a lot of the major cruise lines in here. I'm gonna stick with Princess today. And it's gonna say, okay, what's the cruise ship that you want? We're gonna go on the Majestic Princess. So I'm typing it in, I'm finding it in the dropdown and clicking on it. And it's going to give us a list of the different cruises that are going out at this time. We're doing the 5-day, so I'll select Get Itinerary. It's gonna give us just a brief summary, just make sure this is the right one, the ports look correct. It does, we'll add it on in. And from here, this is what I love to show the most, everything that comes over, ship information, your deck plans that are linked. So really great if you're doing that quote and you're saying, you know what, I have cabins booked on the Emerald deck and the Dolphin deck. They can click into it, kind of see where that cabin's located and can make a decision from there. As you can see as well down below, we have a couple of photos that came over and a place attachment, which of course just includes more information on that location. But if I click into a few of those other days that got populated, we'll have arrival, departure times. Some are going to show the port information, at sea days. But if we preview this, again, this is what our client's going to see. They can have a high-level overview on the side. They can also scroll through, so if they're interested in the hotel photos or if you decide to include anything extra, they can see that really, really easily. Now, everything is looking good so far, so let's go ahead. One last thing we'll throw in are maybe some different cabin options. A lot of times with your quotes, you're going to offer a couple different options. So this is a good tip for those of you who have been using Travefy. You can customize your information and document section, and you can also create multiple sections, which just means they aren't really associated with any date. For instance, we'll make this guy our cabin options. We'll type that in, we'll click done, and you can kind of see that section title right there. And for me, I actually have some Princess Cruise cabins saved in my library, and these are actually all shared out on Marketplace. So if you happen to sell Princess a lot, take a look at Marketplace and you can have this saved in your account as well. I'm gonna click view though. And for me, I believe it's Princess Cabins 3 that Majestic is on. So I'll click view once again. I have a little guide right here just to confirm that. And you know, what options are we gonna give this person? We'll give them the mini suite option and maybe a deluxe balcony option. We're just dragging and dropping in from the library into where we want it to be on our trip. And you can kind of see right there the different options and details. Again, that's all from the library that you can save to your own account. But if I preview it, previewing, we always want to make sure it looks good. The client can see, okay, here's my cabin options. Maybe they're all the way on Tuesday when they want to go up to the cabin options, they just click on it. They can expand it, see a little bit of those different options right there and just compare. But now let's go ahead. We've already packed in a ton of information. So just to summarize really quickly what the heck we've been talking about so far. We talked about how we can really promote our trips into something like a marketing landing page in that page tool. You can also create a website for yourself if you don't have that. Domain mask it so anywhere Travefy shows, your company name shows instead. We can also use those forms to qualify our leads really easily. And also it funnels all into our CRM system so we can track things. You know, has this been a repeat client of mine? How many trips have I sent this person in the past? What forms have I sent them? Where can I find their passport, etc. But we can also put together these proposals really, really quickly. We can actually use these as templates. You can send this entire itinerary right to your library. But now let's go ahead and we'll say, I am ready to approve it. I am the client. You as my advisor sent me this trip. I took a look. They hit that approve proposal button up at the top right. And you might have noticed this before. Maybe you haven't. This is a template in your library that you can customize. So if at this point where they need to approve everything, again, we're just getting their electronic signature. If you need their credit card information, you need their passport, you need any other type of information from them, maybe allergies, or if they have any questions, letting them put in that feedback. You can customize those questions to be included in this form. But it's really nice, mainly because you don't have to send them multiple emails. It's all right here for them, and it pushes them along. But now, because we're trying to save some time here, I'm going to go back to our trips page. We'll pretend, the client went ahead, filled out that form, approved everything. I'm going to just manually change it to an itinerary, and I'm going to hit preview. The difference is because it's an itinerary now, we have the app in PDF option. So again, once they actually put their electronic signature down, they unlock some of these different ways of viewing their own trip. But everything still looks the same. And if I actually click edit back onto this itinerary, everything looks the exact same. So don't feel like you're gonna have to learn how to create a proposal, how to create an itinerary. They're built exactly the same way. Again, it's just a matter of what your client sees and what part of the process they're in. So now we're saying they decided, let's go with the mini suite. That is exactly what I wanted to hear. If you ever need to move things in Travefy, you can drag and drop it to whatever section or day that you want. So I'm moving the mini suite over to October 12th. And maybe I don't need to give them cabin options anymore. They've already decided what option they want to go with. I can just delete that section. Now, as you can see, we have that mini suite at the bottom here. The other thing that I'm going to throw on in are flights. So this is great for those of you who book flights, but also maybe those of you who don't choose to book flights for your clients book that themselves. You can still add their flights in. So if I click new event and I select flight, all we need is the airline and flight number. So let's just do something quick. I'm going to do Delta, and we're going to do 3874 before I click get info. And I'm just checking, this looks like the right one. We also have a check mark, which means we are tracking flight updates. Let's add in the second leg of the flight. So we just need to add in an additional number. And that looks good, so we'll add it on in. Now we do organize chronologically. I don't have a check-in time on this event, so it just adds everything in at the bottom. However, if I put a time in and it happens to be past 12:29 p.m., it'll be put at the bottom. Or something you can always do is I'm going to click this little guy right here. It's their collapse feature. For those of you who are focused on just bulk editing, you probably are going to hang out in that collapse view. You can see it condenses all the information down. We can actually bulk select things. If you need to bulk delete, bulk edit, bulk save, you name it. You can also just drag a lot easier this way. And we'll go right down there. We'll go back out of the collapse view just to make sure it looks good. And if you couldn't tell already, Travefy loves drag and drop. We're going to make everything drag and droppable in this system as possible. But that's how we add in our flights. Last few things is how do we send it? And what about that app that we kind of talked about but didn't spend a whole lot of time on? If we click the send option, you have two different ways of sending, trip link and email, just like the forms. Now, again, I usually say send it out via email if you have specific clients in mind. We'll go ahead, I'm going to send it again to Jane Doe here. You can CC yourself, you can have your custom message already queued up and ready to go, so you don't have to type this out every time. I'm going to send the email off. And here's why I say email when you can, at least with your trips. One, I can see when I sent that invite out. And when Jane Doe actually opens that invite, I'll see when they open it. And I can see then how many times they themselves viewed the trip. You can see I happen to view the trip 6 times, but that total trip view count is going to go up as the client views it. Really helpful for those of you who do quotes a lot and you just kind of want to tell if that person's interested in it. So definitely keep that in mind. Otherwise, let's talk about the app real quick before we get into some questions. Our app for the client is called Trip Plans. You as the advisor will want Travefy Pro from the App Store. Clients want Trip Plans. Think of it as, you're the Travefy Pro, you get the Travefy Pro app. Clients, they don't need to know our name. We want your name and company branding to be front and center. So we have an unbranded app name called Trip Plans for them. And you can kind of see a little sneak peek of what that looks like. One, your information front and center. They can interact with everything that you've included. And I love talking about this guy, especially when it comes to cruises. Available offline. I don't know how many of you have experienced the good old cruise Wi-Fi, but a lot of times it is not the strongest, it's not the best. And really, offline mode is handy, especially if maybe they've booked some shore excursions and their confirmation tickets are on there. What happens if they can't access it? That's why offline mode, if it's toggled on, they can still access their documents, they can still access everything you've included in their itinerary. So really great for those of you who do international trips as well. Offline mode is a lifesaver. But what's also fun is the chat. You know, if it's a family going or maybe it's some friends going, they can actually chat each other on the app. Chat's available on a trip in general, but you do have the option to disable it if it gets a little crazy. But chat is a really fun way to stay connected, not only between travelers, but also between you and them as well. Now, if your client needs any help on how to download it, how to go through it, we have some videos. We also have step-by-step instructions right here with screenshots on how this works, but we are always happy to step in, help out if you have questions, if they have questions. Again, support is a feature of ours, so definitely make the most use out of it. But looking at time, we're doing okay. We'll have at least 10 minutes to go with, but I'm going to click out of there, and this is really the end of what I have. But the next few sessions are going to have so much more in-depth steps for you guys. If you're interested in just the trip building process, you wanted to learn more about what content you can bring in, or if you're interested in that marketing aspect, we'll have a session dedicated to just talking about that website landing page tool. But if you have not started an account, you can start a free trial at Travefy.com. I'll go back here. I did that a little quick, Travefy.com, or you can always just reach out to us professional@Travefy.com, and we can always help answer any questions you have. Otherwise, again, here are some of those upcoming sessions. We would love to see you guys here again. But I do have to give a shout out. We love CLIA. We love our partnership, our friendship with them. And we have a free certification where you can get CLIA credits. You can go to that certification at certification.travefy.com. And this is a really great way not only to learn some really important information about cruises, but also how do you use Travefy. It's really interactive, it's quiz-based. So if that is your learning style, you want to check out certification.travefy.com. Lastly, if you want to schedule a demo, we would love to chat with you. We always want to make sure we're a good fit for your business. So I'll stay on the screen a little bit, but as people are scanning, if you have not been on a demo with us before, Johanna, how are questions looking? I know we went through so much information.
No, I know, Bonnie. The chat has been going wild as you went through each slide. So I know that people are excited about the information you are sharing today. But yeah, we did have a few questions here. One of them was regarding the generated emails once they're within that portal, within that dashboard. They're asking is once you send the email out, let's say there were multiple emails, are they sending it as a group and it's going to be CC'd, or is it individual emails being sent out to each recipient?
That is a great question. So whenever you're sending to multiple people, it's still sending out as individual ones. So let's take that credit card authorization form, for example. Maybe you have 5 warm leads that all need that form sent to them. But of course, we don't need them knowing each other. They might not even know each other anyways. That still sends an individual email to them, but it allows you to just do it all in one go. So same thing for trip invites and whatnot. So really great question.
Yeah, no, that's a good tip, especially so that they're not like, hi, Joe, and it goes to everybody.
Exactly, like, oh, there's 4 other people interested in this trip. That's weird.
Well, maybe it'll push them to book it a little faster.
No, maybe a little group trip just comes out of that, but yes.
And then another question was regarding PCI compliance. They were wondering how does Travefy collect, and I know you mentioned this, but just for those who might have missed it, can you just go over the general PCI compliance steps that Travefy makes sure to take to ensure that all that information is secure?
Absolutely. And while I'm talking, I'm actually pulling up the document and I'll show you guys even more because it's so important, one, to advocate for your own security and staying safe and doing it legally the right way, but also for your clients' information. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and say, oh man, I went to this travel trip or this conference and somehow my car got stolen in Vegas. Like, oh my gosh. It is the worst. So let me pull over a little bit. Sorry for those of you who are trying to scan that QR code. I'll go back, I swear. But we would be happy to send you this page right here. This is going to tell you how we're PCI compliant. If we click into it, you can go to the different hyperlinks. You can, see all the different qualifications we had to go through for this audit, but also just the other compliancy things beside PCI compliant, GDPR. How many acronyms can we have, really? But we are always happy to share this information. And for those of you who are maybe using another card company or another form company for this, it's always important that they can provide this type of information and documentation. So really great question right there. And if I can find the chat, I'll actually put this in there.
Oh, perfect.
Let's see.
And I know that's going to be super helpful to have on hand because I'm sure clients are asking about it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm putting something into the chat. I don't know if it's going to go out to everybody. Let's see.
Just to make sure, but while you're doing that, let's field another question. And yep, it did look like it went through.
It might have been just to you though, as an organizer. So,
so what we'll do is for all those who are sending in questions that may be a little bit more specific, what I'm going to do is make sure that Bonnie gets all of your emails, names, and any questions that you've submitted throughout the presentation so that Bonnie can send out the information that you all are looking for specific to your question. And so don't worry if we don't get to your question right now, she will get you your answer as soon as I report. And for those of you who did join a little late, this is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel called CLIA Global, okay? And so just for another question here, they are very excited. There were a few questions about the certification process. So if you want to go back to that slide, I know people are excited about that. And for those agents that may have already completed it, they're asking how do they submit the certification to CLIA? Bonnie, I'm not sure if they send it directly to you and you pass that on, or if they send it to CLIA's professional development team.
Yeah, so you can really do either. If you want to reach out to us, we're always happy to point you in the right direction on who you want to email that certification to. Otherwise, what we tell people is, you know what, you can reach out to CLIA's professional team. Just make sure you include those documents that we give you after the completion of your certification, which you'll receive an email with all of your little documents, including this badge right here. But either way, I know either party is more than happy to make sure you get those credits that you need. But if you want to give CLIA a little break, by all means, come into our support channel.
Happy to help. So the more the merrier. If you want to reach out to both of us, I'm sure our professional development team would be happy to help you as well. And just to wrap up here before we just do closing remarks, people are asking about the membership pricing packages that you all offer, and they're just asking if you could quickly go over that, just a brief summary about those pricing packages.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to even put the pricing in here. So you can tell that I'm not a salesperson, obviously. But yes, let me go ahead. I'll pull over a little tab right here. We have a lot of different options because we understand, different seasons mean different things for different agencies and advisors. So we do have the annual plan that's going to be about $35 a month billed annually. We also have a quarterly plan. If you can see where, I'm really busy, for 3 months, that's a good enough time for me to kind of get a good feel for the system. We have that quarterly plan and we have a monthly plan. You can always go up or you can go down, again, just depending on your own seasonality. But all of these subscriptions are going to include all of the same features. We don't price based on, what features do you get if you do this subscription type. We try and keep it as easy as possible, not only for you, but for us. So whatever subscription you go with, you get all of those features that we talked about here today. And also let us know if you're a part of any organizations, host agencies. We have a lot of preferred partnerships, and really, we want to make sure that you're getting a lot of value out of this and can help as much as you can. But I'll stay on this page, but you can go to Travefy.com. You can see the pricing at the bottom, and up at the top is where you can see where you can start that free trial.
Perfect. And Bonnie, if you want to go back to just the slide for the next two Travefy webinars. Yep.
Yes.
And the registration links for those are live, and you can go sign up now. So those are the two topics that they're going to cover in the next two webinars. They are live on the CLIA webinars page on the CLIA website. Okay. And so Bonnie, we do have a couple more minutes here if you want to just leave them with just a closing remark. But on behalf of CLIA, we want to say thank you for hosting this webinar for our agents. And you can close up.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, I am super honored that we were able to come talk to you guys today. CLIA is such a great partner, not only for, companies in this industry, but also a great resource for advisors as well. And really, we're on the same team here where we want to further education and make sure that you guys feel comfortable and supported with the job that you are doing. The other thing that I just want to say, we are honored if you choose to use our software to run your business. That is the biggest honor we have. But we also want to make sure if you do have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us, whether you're a user, whether you're trialing, whether you aren't. Again, we're all in this together as a travel industry. So by all means, we'd love to connect with you. But thank you again, Johanna, for letting us come on, and we'll see you in these next sessions.
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie. And everyone is saying great presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you. So we hope to see you on the next one.
Awesome. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.